Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be, would I buy these eyeshadow palettes again if I had to repurchase them or if I somehow lost them? Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. In the past couple of months, I have been slowly but surely making my way through my makeup collection, selecting 10 palettes at random and discussing with you whether these were purchases that were right for me or not. So if I lost my entire makeup collection today and I had to start over and these were still available, would I still put my money towards them? Or if these became broken or whatever would happen to them, would I be itching to have these in my life once again? Yes or no? So that's the premise of this video. I've yet again selected 10 palettes that I have in my makeup collection, so let's just get to it. So whenever I do this video, I always like to do a split between 5 palettes from my top drawer and 5 palettes from the second drawer I have that I dedicate to eyeshadow palettes. And the reason why I do that is because in one of the drawers, I keep more of my smaller and affordable things, and in the other, in the second drawer, I keep more of my high-end, more Sephora-like brand and indie brands and stuff like that. So that's why I feel I need to try and have this split, even though I think in one of the drawers there's many more palettes because of all the small things. It just fits more because of that reason, but we'll get around to talking about all of my palettes at some point. And slowly but surely, I have been making my way through the Kaleidos Futurism palettes. And this is one that I hadn't discussed yet. This is the Futurism 7 Sashimi City. This is one of the Futurism palettes that is still available. A lot of them have been discontinued, but this is one that Kaleidos has never gotten rid of. And I can see why, because I think this can appeal to a lot of people. This is essentially a very neutral, slightly warm-toned leaning palette. It has some peachiness and yellow tones to it, but it's not like overpowering in terms of how warm-toned it is. I definitely kept this over some of my other palettes that I had that had a similar color story. I had a little quad from ColourPop called the Cream Soda, and when I swatched them side by side, this was so incredibly similar. I did a video series a couple of years ago where I would like swatch color stories in my makeup collection that were really, really similar to see which one I preferred, and I liked this better, mainly because this has better shimmers. So the two shimmers that are in here, which is this one and this one, are both duochrome-esque. Like, they're not true duochromes, but especially this is like a peach with a hint of green to it, and this is like a champagne with like a gold yellow shift. It just had a little bit more interest to it, and I like the neutrals in this a little bit better. It is very basic though, and I have plenty of incredibly basic eyeshadow palettes. If it wasn't for the fun packaging, I probably wouldn't have kept this around in my makeup collection at all. However, for travel, this is really easy to use. These are magnetic, so you could very easily take the pans out if you just want to keep the shades, which is definitely something I've done with some of my magnetic palettes in the past. So you can rearrange these. You can like dip your toes in whichever way you want to. So it is versatile for that reason. But compared to everything I have going on into my makeup collection, I don't think I would miss this. If this were gone, I think I could still live my life and like do looks that I might even like better than I do when I wear this. However, I haven't used this in a while, so this could be one I have to select at some point for a makeup I want to go back to just to see how I feel. I definitely like doing that like closer to declutter time, where some of the palettes where I'm like on the fence, like should I get rid of this or not? And this could be one where I'm like, but I don't want to break up the collection either, even though I did get rid of one of these already. I got rid of the VR Neons a while ago, but that packaging wasn't this cute. Like, I really like this like skyscraper sort of cityscape-esque kind of vibe that we get going. I do really like these. I like the packaging of the Kaleidos Futurism palettes, and I also like the shades, and some of them were truly unique. This wasn't super special, but I still liked it. So I'm a bit, wouldn't repurchase it, but it is perhaps worth keeping it. Another more affordable thing here is the Fiolety from Glam Shop. The only reason why I bought this palette is to have it as a companion with the Very Perry, which is not my favorite. I featured that palette in one of these videos before, and I don't think I would repurchase it, also because I've bought something else that looks a lot like it that is super similar to it that I like better. So the ColourPop Lavish is that periwinkle palette I wanted the Very Perry to be. But to get more use out of the Very Perry, I bought the Fiolety in a sale for like €9 because I was like, won't hurt it. But this has quite a bit of warmth in terms of the purples that it offers. It has a couple of really stunning shades. I love this matte. I love this shimmer. This is okay, but I have other shades like it in my singles collection that I think I like a little bit better. So this is not one of my favorite Glam Shop palettes at all. I wouldn't have purchased it if it hadn't been on sale and if I didn't see me using it together with the Very Perry. I now have the Melt Smoke Sessions, which is now like a really good purple palette for me. So I think that this would be not something I would repurchase because there are other purples in my collection that I like better. I even have warm toned purples in my Flight Club palette from Menagerie that I like better than these ones. So this is definitely one where I'm like, that's superfluous. Even within the collection I have, this could just be a declutter at some point. And I would definitely not go out and buy and put my money towards it again because there are so many purple palettes being released all the time. Like, we get a few every year, I feel. So you definitely don't need this, and I would just buy an updated version of a purple palette if I ever lost this. A classic, and it gave me a heart attack as I was taking it up here because I dropped it, but it's still fine. I was able to clean it up. This is the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean, and I'm surprised that I hadn't featured it here yet because part of me tells me that I did, but this is such a good color story. I don't think e.l.f. still does this, though. By now, it has been discontinued, it seems. But this is so, so stunning. I think it is a lovely palette. You get your blues and grays. You get your, like, warmer tones with some greens in here. So it's a really good blue-green palette. And this was so affordable. And it does have a really good formula, especially for how affordable it is. Is the packaging cheap? Yes. But I like a good blue-green palette, as we all know. I still think my Ace Beauté is my favorite blue-green palette, but it's good to have something high-end and more affordable, so this would definitely be a contender. If I lost it, and if, like, I had to start all over, this would be one that, like, would tickle my brain, and I would still want to get my hands on it. However, since it's no longer available, I probably wouldn't be able to. But the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean was such a banger for me, and I love it for that reason. More affordableness than the BH Cosmetics Passion in Paris. I think I've mentioned a lot of my BH palettes so far in this series, but I haven't talked about this one yet. The thing I don't love about this is that row of berry tones we get at the bottom. I do like the cooler tone purples we get up here, so I kind of ignored this bit. And here, a similar thing as with the Fiolety. This is one that I had almost decluttered a while ago, but because I love the BH Cosmetics formula so much, and because the brand has pretty much disappeared, I know Makeup Revolution bought it, and they still do some things, but they haven't released anything new in the BH Cosmetics line. It's almost as if they bought it to sell off the stock, and then as the stock goes away, it kind of seems to disappear. That's what I think is happening to BH, which is a bit sad because they really had their moment for a while. This one, yeah, like with the purple palette from Glam Shop, I just have other purples in my collection that I think I like better. Would I miss this? No, but because I appreciate BH Cosmetics as a brand so much, I do keep it around in my collection. I could still do some looks with this, and if I just ignore the berries, it is okay. But yeah, I would not. Like, even if it were still around and I could put my money towards it, I think the Makeup Revolution website still has a couple of these travel palettes up. I know that, at least the last time I checked. So it could still be something I could purchase, but I would just buy another purple palette that's better for me and doesn't have those weird berry tones in. And I am so surprised that the Juvia's Place The Try palette hasn't made an appearance in one of these videos yet, because this is another favorite of mine. I have slowly but surely been putting these Kaleidos Futurism and also my Juvia's Place palettes in these videos, because they are getting a little bit older in my collection, and therefore, because I keep them in the same cubby, I keep all of my Juvia's Place and Kaleidos in the same spot, which works for me, but that does mean that if I don't think about Juvia's Place or Kaleidos for a minute, that I kind of forget that these palettes exist in my makeup collection. But this is such a good one. I think I actually went back to this over the summertime, if I'm not mistaken. And this is so, so good. It was discontinued a while ago. I believe because the brand could no longer source these pigments. That's why it was discontinued. Not because it wasn't a popular palette, because this is still good till this day. Do I have other warm tone palettes with a pop of greeny teal? Yes. But this still somehow tickles a part of my brain that I feel is very special and different compared to other things in my collection, which is why it's a standout. If this were still available, I would definitely go out and buy it. I would miss this because there's a reason why I never got rid of this. This is still a really, really good one. The oranges aren't my favorite, but I kind of ignore the two oranges on the end, like the two mattes. This bronze shade is really pretty. This like lighter shade, like both of these have a green flip. You get this almost like neon shade and a really nice vibrant grassy green. The two darker tealy greens are really pretty, and the star of the show is actually this matte. I'm usually not a matte girly, but this is that murky brown with like a green yellow undertone to it that makes it perfect as a crease shade, and it goes really well with all of the shades we get in here. This is perfection in a palette, and I would miss it so, so much if I ever lost this, broke it, or anything would ever happen to this. Then for the more high-end indie stuff, I think it's mainly indie brands that I've selected. And yeah, well, one of them is a bit more affordable, but we'll get to it when we get to it. I need to make my way through my Glossgods palettes, and there's no surprise here that Glossgods is now one of my favorite brands. I discovered them about 2 years ago. This is one of the first palettes I bought from them. This one is no longer available. I don't think I would miss it in my makeup collection if I lost it or if I misplaced it or anything like that. So I don't think I would miss the Dancing in the Sky. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Dancing in the Sky. But this definitely is more unique in my makeup collection. This is an all shimmer palette, and it's all tones of green. And I love me a green eyeshadow, so this combined with some mattes works wonders, but this also works really well by itself. If you don't mind putting shimmer all over your lid, which I don't mind, I put shimmer in the crease, no problem. And it works. It definitely works, but I can also see why they discontinued it. So I think of the Glossgods palettes I have, my pick for an effects palette that they do is the Color of Rain, which is still available, so I don't think I need this in my life. I have plenty of green shimmers and also exciting duochromes like these are in my singles collection. So did I need it as a palette? Not necessarily, but I do really enjoy what this does, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon, but it would not be a repurchase. Something that would be a repurchase if it were still available is the Fall Magic from Unearthly. I have featured some of my Unearthly palettes in this style of video before. I have a couple that still say Alien Cosmetics because that's when I first started buying the brand. And this is just the palette for me. Like this in the fall time, I think it's stunning. I think I need to go back to it sometime this fall. I definitely have to. It has some warm tones, some cool tones, but it also has some pops of color. I really like the way this comes together. It's very on trend with these like plummy burgundy things that it has. I think this can be a stunning one. I would definitely miss this in my collection because it is one of my favorite fall palettes of all time. It just is. It just is. So the Fall Magic from Unearthly, I would definitely miss. It is no longer available. There is the Sorcerer Smoke and the new Fall Magic that they did, but you need to buy both of those palettes to get some of the shades that are in this 12 pan, and they are far more expensive than this ever was. And I have bought one, like I bought one of the newer style Unearthly palettes sometime this year to see if I like the new formula. but I prefer their old formula. So I'm going to hang on to my older stuff, and I don't think I will be buying too many of their newer style palettes, even though they do some stunning color stories and I want to buy them all. They're just a little bit expensive, and I did not love the Dreamer palette as much as I'd hoped. So even if I were to lose this, I don't think I would repurchase it if it was that new formula, but if I could buy this exact palette, I would. Something that's slightly more affordable, and a brand, again, that I've slowly but surely been making my way through in these videos, is the Zoeva Spice of Life. Zoeva is another brand where I just have a bunch of their palettes. All of these palettes were discontinued a while ago now. The Spice of Life is, I think, one of the last ones I bought, and I think it's one of my least favorite ones. It has a lot of warmth. It does have really pretty warm shades. This is one that I should perhaps also go back to in terms of like trying all the warm tone things that are in my collection. I don't like warm tones again sort of vibe. But there is one shade I love. It's this one here, this like duochrome shimmer. It's stunning. It's really, really pretty. I just don't think it belongs in this palette. I think if it were set next to taupes or grays, it would shine just so much more. It does have some good neutrals in. I definitely think like these two shades and also this brown is really pretty. I've never really understood these. Like this random sort of green tone is weird in here. So it has pretty shades, but I don't think I would miss this. In fact, like if I were inclined to break up my Zoeva collection, this would be one where I would like take that one shimmer I love out of it and declutter it. But the packaging is stunning. It goes with the other chocolate bar inspired palettes that they had in this collection, and I don't want to get rid of any of my Zoeva palettes because I think the formula is just so stunning. Zoeva is one of the unsung heroes of the makeup world that nobody talks about, but I love them. They do some amazing things, and so I want to keep them, and I want to keep recommending them to you guys, even though you can no longer buy this, but I still like it. I wouldn't repurchase it though. And then we have some Adept, a really nice indie brand here that is known for doing really good, intense, high shine shimmers, multi-chromes, textures. That's really their forte. That's what they're really good at. And the Ninhydrin was the first one that they did that I truly, truly fell in love with. Would I repurchase this? No. The reason is the fact that they do high shine textured shimmers. Now that I've tried a couple of the palettes from the brand, I have just really, really found that as stunning as these palettes are and as amazing as the quality is, Ninhydrin, Minka, Amy Loves, I've tried those three. I also tried the Plain Jane Remastered, which I've decluttered actually. This one is still okay in terms of being able to make like looks with it. But because they are so focused on doing these high shine shimmers and because everything has texture, it can be difficult to use them on the eyes. And I want eyeshadow that I can put on my eyes and it can look pretty no matter what I do with it. And with Adept, it can sometimes be a struggle for me. The ones I now have, I like, I love, I will keep them around because I do enjoy the brand. I think they do wonderful things. They are expensive though, and if I buy an eyeshadow palette at this price point, I want to be able to get super versatile looks out of it and be able to use it left, right, and center and one day potentially hit pan. I won't. I have too many eyeshadow palettes to be able to do that, but yeah. I can see myself going back to like some of these like purpley tones it has. Those are my favorites. That's what I like, but I don't think I would repurchase this if I like had the opportunity, if I had to. I don't think I would miss it because I know what the Adept formula can do for me and my slightly hooded deep set eyes. It's just not the best. I think that if you love that really impactful eyeshadow and you love working with it, I think you're gonna love these Adept eyeshadows. I'm not gonna knock them for that, but they're just not perfect for me, and with how expensive these palettes are, I don't think I would put my money towards them yet again. And the final palette is this guy, the Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse. I went back to this over the summertime, used it again, and I now know why this is the only Lunar Beauty eyeshadow palette I ever bought. Lunar Beauty, it's the brand by Manu MUA, the beauty creator here on YouTube, TikTok, like he's everywhere. And he has his own brand, and he does some really good makeup. The brand is good. This is the only thing I've tried from them. No, that's not true. I've tried a liquid lipstick or a gloss, I think, that was pretty hyped up, but that had a really strong, like, cookie dough scent, which is not what I like. So I did try some of the lip products and possibly some cheek products as well. But this is the only thing that's left. It's pretty. It's a beautiful palette. I have other palettes, though, that can do this for me by now. So this, I don't feel is wholly unique. And as much as I do like it, none of the other color stories the brand ever came out with were right for me. Like, there's a beautiful, like the Nude Prism, beautiful neutral palette right up my street. And yet I look at that and go, maybe not. That Moon Shroom palette, I look at it, I think it's pretty, and I'm like, maybe not. And I've had that feeling with so many Lunar Beauty things. To be quite fair, I don't think I would miss this in my collection if I ever lost it, misplaced it, or anything like it. As I mentioned, I have other palettes that can do what this does. I'm thinking of the Melt Blueprint that I have in my collection that also has warmer tone neutrals with a pop of blue. Like, I would miss it for the bottom row and this shimmer. But the neutrals, not really. It's quite warm heavy. I would have wanted this to be more cool toned. I might pull shades out of it if I ever declutter it, just to keep the ones I love. But the palette itself, I don't think I would miss it in my collection, so it would not be a repurchase. So those would be the eyeshadow palettes that I wanted to discuss in this video today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Let me know in a comment down below if you know any of these. Maybe you have them yourself. What would your thoughts be? Would you repurchase any of them? I would love to know. And if there is an eyeshadow palette that you did repurchase, then I'm also very curious, because I think that sometimes we make mistakes, we get rid of something and then we're like, ooh, but that was actually good, I would like to repurchase it. I don't do this all the time. Like, when I declutter makeup, I tend to be pretty solid in my decisions. And like I said with the Lunar Beauty, I would potentially take shades out. So if I'm only keeping the palette around for like 1 or 2 shades, I will repot them and make them part of my singles collection, so I still have the shades I love, or I will like shuffle my palettes around to only have the shades I love from certain palettes together in a single palette and create new color stories. So I'm definitely an advocate for making the makeup work for you rather than keeping around something really bulky and big, and only have like 2 or 3 shades that you truly, truly enjoy. Because that way your makeup collection just grows and grows and grows, and you could keep on going forever. And things, you know, formulas are updated, things change. So I definitely don't feel we need to keep around everything. So that feeling of like, oops, I would like to have this in my life again doesn't happen a lot to me, because I tend to keep the things I like, be it in a different rendition than it originally came in. But I definitely try to make my makeup work for me rather than hanging on to things just for the sake of hanging on to things. Which some people don't like, because I get lots of comments on my eyeshadow palette collection and declutter videos where people say like, I only like it if people keep their palettes in the original layout. And I'm like, I want makeup that works for me. I don't know how... some people are a stickler for that. They like keep their Natasha Denona palettes in the exact same order they came in. But I've just found that reorganizing certain things it's been wonderful for me. So I definitely think I want to do that with some of these that, like, in the future, don't have to keep them around. That's for sure. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that topic. I would love to know, and then I hope to see you again in my next video. If you subscribe, you're going to be notified whenever I post a new video, which happens 4 times a week on this channel. I also have a second channel where I post once a week, and I do daily blog posts, so you can catch me someplace, wherever, every single day. So I hope to see you very, very soon, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.